Hi, I'm Dr. Larry Malerba, and I'm glad you've tuned in to All Things Homeopathy. Part 1 of the History of Homeopathy in America slideshow focused mainly on homeopathic educational institutions. Part 2 will illustrate the great diversity of homeopathic clinics and hospitals that existed in America at the turn of the 19th century. Without further ado, please enjoy. In addition to 22 homeopathic medical schools, there were also more than 100 homeopathic hospitals in the United States in the late 1800s. Some were smaller hospitals, and there were larger ones too. Many were concentrated in the northeastern United States and the Midwest. Let's take a tour of some of those hospitals. This small hospital in Pottstown, Pennsylvania had 62 beds and 10 homeopathic physicians on staff. It sure is a beauty. The Pittsburgh Homeopathic Hospital was founded in 1866. It had 312 inpatient hospital beds and had 45 homeopathic MDs and 100 registered nurses on staff. Here's another small but beautiful homeopathic hospital. This one is from Newburyport, Massachusetts. Most of the images that you'll be viewing are from postcards printed back in the late 1800s to the early 1900s. The Homeopathic Hospital in Wilmington, Delaware had 110 beds and 31 homeopathic physicians on staff, in addition to 12 allopathic physicians. The postmark on the back of this card is dated 1908. This was the nursing home wing of the Boston Homeopathic Hospital. The West Jersey Homeopathic Hospital in Camden, New Jersey had 267 beds and 50 homeopathic physicians on staff. The Homeopathic Hospital in Providence, Rhode Island had 200 beds and 26 homeopaths on staff. Hahnemann Hospital in Scranton, Pennsylvania had 125 beds with 18 homeopathic and 13 allopathic doctors on staff. This image of the Homeopathic Hospital in Reading, Pennsylvania has a nifty depiction of a horse and buggy out front. It had 115 beds and handled 37,000 outpatient visits in the year 1930. And although I don't know which Hahnemann Hospital this is from, believe it or not, here's a picture of a homeopathic ambulance. New York State had numerous homeopathic hospitals spread all across the state. The Metropolitan Hospital in Manhattan had 1,560 beds and consisted of a complex of 28 buildings. Here's an image of a maternity hospital in Yonkers, New York. Utica had a small homeopathic hospital. Syracuse also had a homeopathic hospital. This is the Homeopathic Hospital in Rochester, New York. And this is a photo of what once was the Buffalo Homeopathic Hospital. Erastus Corning, the great-grandfather of Albany's mayor of the same name, served as president of the board that planned the creation of the Albany City Homeopathic Hospital in 1872. The hospital later became a conventional medical hospital under the name of Memorial Hospital. It still exists today, but in a different location in Albany. There were even homeopathic hospitals exclusively for psychiatric patients. This is the State Homeopathic Psychiatric Hospital in Middletown, New York. I came across this statement about the facility, which had 3,092 beds. Quote, "It is the practice of the hospital to avoid the use of narcotics and sleeping mixtures, and they are not in use in this hospital." The Gowanda State Homeopathic Psychiatric Hospital in Helmuth, New York had 1,288 beds. A published list of the most commonly prescribed homeopathic drugs at the facility reads as follows: belladonna, aconite, nux vomica, gelsemium, arsenicum, mercurius, phosphorus, glanoin, bryonia, rustox, Strychninum phosphoricum, Ignatia, Passiflora, Viburnum, Aurum metallicum, Hyoscyamus, Stramonium, and Veratrum album. Back then, psychiatric hospitals were often referred to as asylums for the insane. This is a postcard image of the psychiatric hospital in Allentown, Pennsylvania. There were also homeopathic hospitals out west. Pictured here is a postcard of the Hahnemann Hospital of San Francisco. It had 100 beds and there were 30 homeopathic physicians on staff. The Hahnemann Medical College of San Francisco was founded in 1883. In 1899, there were 88 homeopaths in San Francisco and 57 in Los Angeles. Sadly, there are no longer any homeopathic hospitals in the United States. Almost all the buildings have been torn down, and most people, including physicians, have no idea that they ever even existed. The American Institute of Homeopathy, or AIH, is the national organization that represents homeopathic physicians. It was founded in 1844 and has been in continuous existence ever since. It now includes MDs, DOs, naturopaths, dentists, veterinarians, physician assistants, nurse practitioners, pharmacologists, and pharmacists in its membership. The American Medical Association was founded 3 years after the AIH, prompted by the rapid growth of homeopathy and midwifery, both of which were perceived as threats to the business interests of the so-called regular doctors of the time. The magnificent Hahnemann Monument was originally gifted by the American Institute of Homeopathy to the United States government. It was erected in the year 1900. President William McKinley attended the dedication ceremony on June 21st of that year. This image of the president is from the book Historic Sketch of the Hahnemann Monument. The monument still stands to this day at Scott Circle in Washington, D.C., just a few blocks from the White House. On June 21st in the year 2000, the AIH hosted the 100th anniversary rededication of the monument. Physicians and practitioners from across the U.S. and overseas attended this momentous occasion. I was fortunate enough to have participated in the event in my role as Vice President of the AIH. That's yours truly, second from the right. The American Institute of Homeopathy, largely through the efforts of Dr. Sandra Chase, pictured at the podium, later raised funds for restoration of the monument, which was subsequently completed by the National Park Service. Dr. Royal S. Copeland was an influential figure in homeopathic history and politics. He graduated from the University of Michigan Homeopathic Medical College and later became U.S. Senator from the state of New York. Dr. Copeland also served as New York City Health Commissioner and Dean of New York Homeopathic Medical College and Flower Hospital. He helped write the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, the legislation that created the FDA. Thanks to Dr. Copeland's efforts, homeopathic medicines have been officially regulated since the FDA's inception in 1938. Their remarkable reputation for safety continues to this day. By the mid-1900s, homeopathy had nearly faded from the American landscape. Its reputation had suffered mostly due to deliberate smear campaigns orchestrated by the conventional medical establishment. Not to be denied, the 1970s marked a homeopathic renaissance that has continued to this day. Homeopathy now flourishes in many places around the globe. There are homeopathic schools in many countries. Homeopathic treatment is covered by the National Health Service in Switzerland. And homeopathic medicine is enormously popular in India. The future of homeopathy is very bright indeed.